Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the EDM Grid podcast. My name is Henry, also known as Hank Cray. I am joined by Oswald. I'm not going to do that bit again.
Yo.
Oswald, how are you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing great. Finally, I don't have to fucking wake up at 7 a.m.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true.
I'm feeling
We're
fantastic.
recording this at like midday for you, and like it's 9 o'clock, like nearly 10 for me. And poor
Yeah.
old Modus here, our special guest, is recording
Hey
at
there.
nearly
No.
midnight. So poor, like, what time is it? Are you
Right
plus
now,
one or
it's
plus two?
right now it's 10:42
Plus one.
p.m.
Oh,
so it's pretty
I
late.
thought
That
it was
late.
11:42 for you.
No, it's still pretty late, but
It's still late,
I
but
just
it's
had
not as late
dinner.
as I thought it was.
Yeah, I just had dinner.
Right.
I'm feeling pretty good. Let's do this.
Amen.
Nice.
So, Modus, tell the audience a bit about yourself. Tell the audience kind of what you do, what you make, where you've been, where they might recognize you from.
Why,
Give the
hello there.
overview.
Yeah, who are you?
My name is Paul, also known as Modus. I am what you might call an electronic musician. Yeah, although I'm trying to just ditch any manner of labels of my music because it's been getting harder and harder to just label my music at all. It's just kind of weird. It's
Damn.
but if I had to say something, it would be like this mix, this blend of electronic and orchestral music. So it's pretty interesting. It hasn't always been that way. I started just being a like pure dubstep electronic artist, and then I started like during the pandemic was when I started getting into like orchestral and film scoring and cinematic music, and then I saw a connection there and went, whoa, I can do something pretty cool there. And then around the same time, I was studying for sound technician, and one of the subjects in there was how to use narrative in sound, right? More or less. And
Right.
that's when storytelling piqued my interest. And then I thought, storytelling, electronic, orchestral, let's just fuse them all together. And I've been telling stories with music ever since. So yeah, I started out in like 2014, though my online presence really started in like 2016, right? With the first New Year protocol. More on that later, maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I've got that
yeah,
planned.
we're like 10, almost 11 years in, and
That's a
the rest
scary
is
thought,
history.
isn't it? Like you're
Yeah.
already 10 years in. Like that must be like a moment where you just gotta sort of realize that you might be becoming Unc or something. Like
Yeah,
10
no,
years
there,
is a massive milestone, though. Like
there
it's
will
such a
become
big
a point-
milestone.
there will become a point where I have fans that are younger than the amount of years I've been a musician, and that
nearly
one
there.
that is going to be a very scary day.
I'm nearly there. You're on
Yeah,
11
no.
years. I'm only 5 years off of that. Like I'm only 5 years off of that, which is
Yeah, no, I
I
fully
mean-
expect. I fully expect in like 3-4 years, people are gonna be, yo, I'm such a big fan of your music. I'm 12, and then I'm like,
I'm
whoa, that's
12.
what? That's like 2015. You're younger than.
You just
I've
have
been
like a
around.
moment of
Yeah, what
reflection
the
of like,
hell?
damn. You just have like this
That's gonna be
this
a very
like dolly
scary day.
zoom of just
But
like, it's like wow.
Yeah, the shock, dude. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
This is
Oh, no.
high budget
Yeah, just like
stuff
that.
here on the EDM grid. High budget technology right here. Okay, let's go
Fire.
back to the start of your journey then, because you said you started in 2014. What kind of
I
got
did.
you inspired into making music and sort of creating this electronic stuff, which you later go on to get famous for or semi-famous and get on these labels? But what sort of got you started initially?
Semi-famous is a generous term.
You are.
Say my
You
I'm
are.
not
Yeah, that's a weird term though. Like, what?
semi-famous.
Either you're famous or you're not, and I feel like Modus is kind of famous.
See,
Okay, I see
semi-famous,
what you
kind of famous.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I see what
Okay,
you mean, but like,
If you
okay.
say so.
Okay, but like,
Okay, so when I first
what did you get started on?
right.
What got you
So
started?
when I first started music, like doing electronic music, I had already been into music for a very long time. So my parents saw a big interest of mine being music. At the age of 2, they bought me my first piano, this like very small like toy keyboard, and it came
Mhm.
with a microphone, and I would like both play and sing weird shit all the time. Like very very unintelligible 2-year-old rap.
That's
uh
fire.
yeah,
No, yeah, that's
Fire.
fire
yeah,
actually.
no, the singing part never really went anywhere, but the piano part stayed. And by the age
Mm.
of 5, they signed me up to piano school. So I got to learn a bit of piano there, and also just like music theory, like academy and all that. So I've been studying music for a very long time now, since I was very very young. So I'm
Nice.
familiar with a lot of like techniques and like mostly classical music. So you could say I'm like classically trained, right? And then by the age of like 12, 13, I was in my final year of primary school, and I vividly remember to this day. My parents signed me up for a summer school, which I did not want to go to initially, but when I went,
Damn.
I actually had a lot of fun. So when I was
Mm.
there, I had a friend of mine, which I'll never forget this. His name was also Paul.
Oh my god.
uh,
W.
he
Nice.
had this like one of these like very early Samsung Galaxy phones, which had like what 200 megabytes of storage. Like he could fit like a grand total of 4 songs there.
That's
And
fire.
Yo. And for that
2014 hit
yeah,
time, I
no,
feel
that's
different,
like
pretty
bro.
fire.
it was really cool though. Yeah.
And one of the songs he had in there was Skrillex, right? He had a couple of
Ooh.
Skrillex tunes in there, and that was my like most people, rather
Enlightenment.
unceremoniously maybe. I
Yeah.
got introduced to electronic music the same way a lot of people did with Skrillex, right? So
Fire.
I was immediately intrigued. Wow, this hits heavy. This sounds pretty cool, right? And as I
Mhm.
got more and more into it on a computer that like barely had internet access back in the day, at home,
Mhm.
I want to be able to do this one day, right? And by the age of 14, I already started to dabble in some like small DOS, like Magic's Music Maker, and all that.
Mm.
And
Damn, that's
eventually,
old. Like that, I
yeah,
Ooh.
no, that
that's
is
so.
ancient. It's ancient. And there was a time, I don't know if this is still the case, but there was a time where that program did not allow you to use any third party stuff. It was just the loops. So the sounds and the plugins it
Yikes.
came with, that was it. So you could not import your own samples, your own plugins, your own anything,
Mm.
right? So it was pretty limiting. So I wanted to break out of that, and I stumbled upon FL Studio, which was like at the time the beat making in a way.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah,
was
so
using FL.
there were a lot of people who were maybe using Ableton or like Cubase or like that, but the like novice, most of the amateur producers were using FL Studio, and so I decided, hey, this should be a good entry point. Later, I realized that that FL Studio is so much more powerful than you think it is.
Oh.
Well,
So I
automations,
Uh-huh.
stayed with it
routing, all
eventually.
of that. Really,
So
really
eventually, I
powerful.
stayed with it. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, I started with FL Studio 10. Needless to say, it was not a very legal copy of FL Studio at that. I later bought it.
I know.
But at
I
the
feel like
time,
everyone starts like that though. Like,
yeah.
For
yeah,
So
legal
at the time,
purposes, it was a
it was
fully
later bought
yeah,
and
of
legally
course,
acquired.
of
yeah.
Yeah,
course, of
So
of
course.
I
course.
bought it just a few years later. But still, the
Nice.
first few years, I'm sorry to the developers. I was a
I
kid. A kid does kid things. And for a
mean,
few years I
yeah,
was
that's
just
fair.
dabbling in like FL Studio, doing some very basic stuff, and I create a profile in this page called Looperman, which was like,
Looperman.
yes, which
Yo.
was basically SoundCloud, but it also had this like splice element. So it was like this like weird hybrid of SoundCloud where you could like share tracks with other people, and then Splice, which you could share samples and like a cappella tracks with other people. And yeah, it was just this like main hub for like sharing sounds and then occasionally tracks. So I started sharing loops over there. Those got a few downloads there. And then I eventually started posting my own songs. And my first ever song was, I published it in, if I recall correctly, it was October 20th, 2014, to the day.
Do you still have it? Do you still have a
Good
copy of it
memory,
just on
damn.
there?
Yes, I still have it. I save everything on my computer. I'm a hoarder. I save
Amen, dude. Like,
the
actually.
content
That's
that
so
I
fair.
make, I save all of it. So from the very first song, I have the project even. So if I were to download and like re-download the plugins I had back then, I could probably open it.
That's
Oh,
that's
wow.
actually sick.
Yeah, so I made it a core principle of mine never to lose anything I have made, right? So like my history shall be preserved in a way,
Amen.
right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, dude.
I've already been through like 5 different computers, and every single time I've painstakingly made the like migration process to make sure the file structure is the same, the project's still open 1-to-1, right? And right now this is like a laptop from a couple years ago, uh, but it has the same file structure as like the very first computer I had in 2014. So everything is the same, the same,
Nice.
the same directories and like everything. So yeah, it's
And
like
no,
all
no
very.
sample is like lost or missed or nothing.
I've only ever lost one project, and
Oh
it's
my god.
yeah.
This is
I've
gonna
only
be
ever
like
lost
some
a
horror
single
No.
project,
backstory. It's like some
and
Disaster, dude.
and that story still baffles me to this day. The one project
Oh, damn.
I lost was the project for Sector 5 VIP from the No Limits remixes in 2021. Luckily, I managed to like finalize the song, and it was only after the release that I lost it for some reason. Just that one project. So I was in the process of like migrating a computer, and for some reason on one of the files, maybe it got corrupted or something. I don't really know.
Right.
But a reboot later and the file just wasn't there. And I was like, what?
Damn.
What? So yeah, and I do have a
Hmm.
version of the project that is like 80% done, but not the full one. And that'll
Yeah.
forever remain a mystery to me
That's
how I
weird.
could have
Yeah.
possibly lost that project. So
that's
yeah,
That's
that's so
haunted.
sad.
Or
yeah.
something.
So yeah, the first song that I released was called Heaven. It's still out. If you look hard enough on My Looperman, it's still active. Well, not active, but it's still like
Still on
available.
the platform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is still
So
exists.
you
Yeah.
can still find me, and I believe if you have an account, you can play it. So if you sign up, you can probably still play my very first
Whoa.
song over there, and that's I think the only place it's ever been on Looperman. For a couple of years, that's like the only platform I ever posted my music on. So my pre 2016 stuff, only place you can find it is probably Looperman. So
I
yeah,
might
the
need to have a
that
dig through Looperman to see if I can find these songs. Like I might have to
you can
try
just
and.
Google it. I'm pretty
Just,
sure if you look up I am Modus
just for the sake
Looperman,
of
you
it.
will find it. I'm pretty sure.
Is your name the same as back then?
Yeah, yeah. No, it used to be Modus Music, all caps,
What? But your
and then
name's
it was
just
Okay.
Modus dot
you've always been Modus. Like from 2014 to now, you've always been Modus.
from 2014. Yes, there
Whoa.
were a previous like couple like testing years thing where I only ever made mashups, and this is gonna be very embarrassing,
Oh,
but
we've all
my
had
first
that.
alias, my first ever name, or the first ever name that I picked was DJ Master Night.
Nah, that's fire.
DJ,
Nah, that's
what?
fire. That's actually heat.
DJ Master
Master
Night.
Knight?
So yeah, like the master of the night.
No,
I
that's
mean,
that's actually
I think
such
it feels it fits for the time though. Like
for,
2014
for the
DJ
time,
Master Night, like
and maybe for
damn,
a completely
I would
different
have
person.
got.
Damn.
Yeah,
No, but
that I feel like that went hard.
yeah.
No, that
Like,
goes
So
back then.
that hits differently in the big
yeah.
25.
And so a couple
Yeah.
years later, I eventually settled on modus, and the way I did was in Spanish there is a word called modo, which is like
Mhm.
which means like way or like approach, the way in which I do things,
Mode. Yeah.
el modo en que yo hago las cosas. So like
Right.
modo, modus, and that's just how it happened. There isn't really like
Really, man.
no, there's not really
Huh.
like any like super big lore behind behind the
You just
It's
like the
okay.
word and made it your own.
yeah, it's just I imagined it and then I looked it up and there were like a few and there were like 20,000 different moduses out there and it was like, well,
This is
Yeah,
this
well,
is
okay,
crude.
sure.
And that's crude, but not really, because I'll let the brand do the rest of the work. So
Nice.
I am Modus, and there's a couple other prominent producers named Modus, but I feel like our audiences don't really overlap. If anything, the
Mm.
two other Moduses do fight each other because they are both techno producers. They're both like techno DJs.
what you're all
so-
EDM producers.
yeah, they're all EDM producers,
Oh my God.
and one rapper from Ukraine.
Oh,
but-
amen.
Bruh.
but yeah, but
Bro, imagine your competitors are just Modus.
I am Modus
Yeah,
versus
but
Modus
thing-
versus Modus versus
yeah,
the random Ukrainian
Modus
rapper.
is yeah.
Modus and Modus
Amen.
collab for one.
No, nice.
Wait, so
So yeah, if anything, it's just those two DJs fighting each other for the same audience. I really just like have my own niche, and in my own niche, I don't think there's like any confusion that Modus is Modus, that like Modus is me, right?
if
Right.
I'm
And,
Modus and Modus is I, who am I and who is who? And
And if
all of
anything,
that.
I'm the only Modus that has the all lowercase name. So
Oh well,
I
that
guess
that
that
makes
is
it
something.
easier, I guess.
technicalities,
Yeah.
the technicalities, we take
Yeah.
those.
Every other Modus.
Besides, I
has
feel
the
like
capital
if
M.
someone looks up Modus, they'll find you first anyway.
If you
So-
look up I am Modus, you will. If you look up if you just search Modus on the search bar, you'll get like pictures of cars, because there's a car
Okay.
called the here in Europe, at least there's a car brand called Renault,
Renault
And
Modus
Yes.
hatchback.
and there's a car called Renault Modus. It's actually very very ironic, because the Renault Modus is the car I drove at the driving school.
Oh my!
Nah.
It's all linked.
It's all coming
all
together,
linked.
yeah.
It's all connected already. like,
Yeah.
just- it's all connected in the music and also in real life. Yeah, like just
It's
this
just
like
meant to be, dude.
modus inception here.
fire.
So yeah, they made me drive a Renault Modus at driving school. It's not the car I drive now, but still.
Damn.
That was a funny
It's
moment.
all
I
linked.
mean, you just should try that just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So going.
So yeah, I settled on Modus, and the rest is history, really. I started the first New Year protocol came out in January 2016, and that's like I really started my SoundCloud presence in a way. And yeah, from there I started opening my the rest of my social media. I think Twitter was first. Now it's no longer Twitter, but I refuse not to call it Twitter.
Yeah,
It's
no,
Twitter
no one
for
calls
me.
it Twitter.
That's right. No one calls it Twitter.
Everybody
dude.
calls it Twitter
I'm sorry.
here,
Nobody calls it
okay?
X.
And
Nobody
then a
calls
couple
it
years
X,
later, my
yeah.
Instagram followed, and then my YouTube channel, and then like so. Yeah, like
we
it
will
all
be
started,
getting
like,
onto that
you know-
later, because the YouTube channel is definitely an important point that we will be talking about.
Sure thing.
Tune in, yeah.
But,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's about it for like the early days.
Going back to the start, right? What were some of the songs that inspired you throughout the beginning years of you sort of making music? Because you've said Skrillex, but were there any other things that sort of?
Yeah. So Skrillex was my first exposure to music,
Mhm.
but I quickly realized he wasn't my favorite artist to listen to.
Who was?
I
Ooh.
found a couple artists that are not really well known. You may not know much of them. They're called Xylent and AU5. Yeah, no, not
Oh yeah,
very,
yeah,
Who are
maybe,
those?
maybe, just a little
very,
bit.
very underground.
That.
Of course, yeah, maybe.
I believe I believe I found AU5 first. Back then, he was like on OG Monster Cat, just like dropping. I believe the first I heard from him was Snowblind, and the song had just come out at the time. So, and I heard it, and it was like magic in my ears. Basically, I want to do this. And then Xylent came around. The first thing from Xylent I heard, I think, is Boss Wave, right? Which at the time it had also just come out. The video clip that they made for it, and then shortly after that he dropped We Are Virtual, like his first album, his debut album. So that was pretty exciting. And then I listened to those two, and I was like, "Yep, that's what I'm doing now."
This is me.
I
That's just,
really want to do
I'm gonna
this.
do that. Yeah.
In the words of Playboy Carti, I am music.
Yeah,
The generational hatred for that.
That's
track
pretty
is
much
not
it.
real.
Yeah.
music is I.
Of
And then
course.
and then I noticed as well that around 2015, Xylent started doing Twitch streams. And dude, I was tuning to those every single day.
I'm
Damn.
a
I was
mega fan.
I would stay
Back
the
when,
entire
like
stream
2015,
every
you
day.
said, or
Huh?
what year? What you said? Sorry.
2015-ish, yeah. So
Wow.
between 2015 and 2017, I think he was streaming, and then he stopped streaming. And then the year is 2018 now, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm going, "Hey, I'm about to turn 18 soon, like next year. Maybe I should do like a face reveal and start streaming." Right?
Ooh. Okay.
Have you been
And
streaming for like 7 years? How long have you been doing that for?
I've been streaming since August of 2018. So yeah,
I love how you
uninterruptedly,
remember the date
almost.
so well.
I
Yeah,
haven't
you.
really
Yeah.
had any major breaks. The longest break from streaming I've had since 2018 is like 2 weeks, and it's like the summer break, because
Oh.
there's like a period of 2 weeks in August where it's just impossible to stream. It's way too hot. It gets like up to like 50 degrees out here, like indoors. So
Man.
That is
it's
so hot.
absolutely unbearable.
Dude,
So it's
and
like,
I'm gonna
yeah,
be
no,
suffering that though.
I'd rather not.
I'll be
And
suffering
Jeez.
that.
And besides, we all like going to the beach and like all that. So like, might as well just take a couple weeks off anyway. Like, have a proper summer vacation. Damn it.
Amen.
And
Nice.
yeah, that's about the longest break I've ever had from streaming. But yeah, if you take that aside, I started streaming in 2018, basically inspired by Xylent, and like since he had stopped streaming, I was like, I want to
You want to
do
start
what
doing
he
that?
did.
Replace
Yeah.
him. No.
Like maybe take up maybe take up the baton here, and I came up with like a pretty similar format, but in kind of like my own Modus-esque way, and that eventually evolved into what Modus Live is now. Which we have 3 shows a week. We have a production one on Tuesdays, then we have like a Friday night chill talk and comedy show that's called the Friday Chill, and then on Saturday we do feedback. So that's called Feedback Hour. And it's not, and it's fake because it's not actually an hour; it's 3 hours. So it's 3 hours
Exposed.
of anything.
Get him gone.
Oh
He's been
damn.
found out.
And yeah, that's where I destroy your songs with facts and logic.
Yeah, that's the
Nah.
quote that you use. Link in the description because you definitely should
I have
check those
experience.
out. Like you should
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
check out all of Modus's stuff, because I tune in on the
have-
stream sometimes, and it is the quality is insane. Like the intro as
Thank
well
you.
that you have. Like, how long did it take to sort of make that?
Well, if you take into account the time it took for me to like learn 3D stuff and get there, it would probably be since I started streaming,
Ah.
right? Or
Oh, wow.
or since I started getting into like making those visuals for New Year Protocol. Um,
Huh.
but yeah, those visuals, the longest time, the most painful part is actually rendering them, because
Oh
I can make them
no.
pretty fast,
I feel
Oh
right?
like,
It's just
no.
yeah.
each frame, because it's this like really glassy texture. There's a lot of like ray tracing and path tracing to be calculated there. It's like
Yeah,
the most
refractions and
tedious
stuff, I
thing
feel
to
like.
the most tedious thing to render is reflections. And my
Hmm.
characters, my renders are all reflections.
Oh
Black
no.
reflections, no textures. And add to that the fact that the renderer I use is CPU only. So I have
Ah,
no
Oh
GPU
shit.
acceleration
Yeah.
on that
no.
render, but I still use it because it looks just the way that I want it. No other render looks that way. And so it's just, I use that, and I've been using that for a long time now. And each frame, if you render like 1080p, each frame can take like 2 minutes. 2 minutes per frame, right?
Oh, damn.
So
Yikes.
What's the longest render that you have? Like you're just there like trying to render out a cool thing that you made, and you see that
yeah,
you like
the
it takes 2 months.
the longest render, the longest consecutive single render that I've done is a scene in New Year Protocol 10, in the animation film for that. I think it's or I think it's in the New Year Protocol full film. Yeah. So the scene when the creator first shows up, when they're first introduced, the
Mhm.
creator is like the most demanding 3D model of all the characters. It's like very complicated. Uh, and that thing takes like 10 minutes per frame or something. And it was a 200
Jeez.
frame render.
Yikes.
And it was
Oh.
a 200 frame render. So the
Oh
actual
no.
thing ended
I
up
feel like,
the
yeah, 2D artists must like be
yeah,
dying under
Oh
seats right
no.
now.
the full scene ended up lasting like less than 10 seconds. But for those less than 10 seconds, I spent
Mm.
18 hours rendering that.
Oh,
Jeez.
So
damn.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I did not
that must have
spend
been
those 18
painful.
hours. The computer did. So
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, of
you
course,
gotta just
like,
pray
you
that
just
there's
yeah,
no
went to
like
sleep
power
and came
outages
back
or
the other
like.
day.
so I
You
just
gotta pray.
so I just so while the computer is rendering, I can just go to the living room and like play some Pokemon there.
Amen.
For 18 hours straight. Yeah, the usual.
Yeah, because since my computer is like full on, like the CPU is absolutely pegged. I can't really do anything else anyway. So like
Damn.
it's like
Right.
fully unusable during the time it's rendering. So
Yeah.
I might
Imagine
as
if you
well.
later, after the render, just find something that you need to tweak.
No, not really, because I have countermeasures for that.
Oh.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have a viewport that allows me to preview stuff before I actually render it. So it's
Okay.
like
Mm.
a lower
Thank
res
God.
preview, so it's faster. And that way I can test out the lighting, and I'll like scrub through like maybe if it's a 200 frame animation, I'll scrub through every like 30 or 40 frames just to check that the position of the lighting as it's moving, it's the
It's,
adequate.
yeah, like everything's perfect, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
once I
well, I
know
mean,
that like
that's.
the main keyframes are where I want them to be, the in-betweens is just a matter of they move from here to here, so it's just, just animate them
Fair enough.
Mhm.
and render them.
Fair, yeah.
You've been talking a
Well,
lot
that's a workaround.
about the New Year together thing, right?
New Year
Um
Protocol series,
New
yeah.
Year Protocol. You said you started that in 2016, and that was a very.
2016.
Tell me about like the process of you sort of making that and that becoming a part of like your musical journey, like going on in the future and continuing to do it.
Right. So, have you ever watched The Avengers?
No, actually, I need to get on that. I'm,
You have
I'm
not
gonna get.
watched
Brother.
I'm gonna get harassed for it, but I
Yeah,
have
no,
not watched
Oh
it
you.
yet.
no. Oh
Modus
I'm the
no.
looks
new owner now. You
devastated.
just can screw
You
up
look
now.
I'm
Yeah,
getting
absolutely
screw up.
canceled
fried.
tomorrow.
Oh my god, dude.
The
Okay,
episode's
so
been cancelled,
Okay, you
guys.
can talk to
That's
me. I'm
it.
the biggest Avengers fan. Don't worry.
But have you watched the Star Wars series?
Damn.
Star Wars movies.
Modus, you're not asking the right person these questions.
Come on.
You're not asking the right
Okay.
person these questions.
Okay, so you have. Okay, Henry hasn't watched Marvel. I haven't watched Star Wars, so it's.
I've
fair.
not watched anything.
Oh, bro. Okay.
You should watch more movies.
Never mind. No,
That
but
is
okay.
true.
Let's pretend we have.
Okay.
'Cause,
So
yeah.
the thing with the Avengers and like Marvel and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, is this
Mhm.
thing where they spread out a storyline between multiple movies, right? So, for example, with this with the previous saga that they had with the Avengers, it started out with the first Iron Man
Yeah.
in 2008, and then that started out a saga that ended with Avengers Endgame in 2019. So over those 11 years, a single story was being told across the Iron Man movies, Doctor Strange, the Avengers, Captain America, and like all those in between movies.
Yeah. Thor,
They
Iron
each had their
Man.
own
Yeah.
story, but uh, behind that, they had like their underlying story arc, right? And
Yeah.
that was a concept I really liked seeing, like just a very long setup for this big, massive payoff at the end, and spread out a story between multiple chapters of something, anything. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, how can I like make a music version of this, right? And so
Ooh.
I came up with the Near Protocol series. The Near Protocol series is a project that spans 10 chapters, so it's 10 songs. I release one song each year. So if it started out in 2016, you'll actually realize that this year was the 10th and final chapter. So I just completed the series. It was a very
Whoa.
long and hard 10 years, but I got it done eventually.
Yeah.
And each chapter tells the story of a conflict, of a fight for the universe between mind and machine. So it's like the protagonist, shall we say, of the story is the humans as like a collective, right? A human civilization from a parallel world creates an artificial consciousness. You could say in this world we could call it an AI,
Right.
and they
Kind of
call
like
this
Ultron, I guess.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of, and they call this
Uh-huh.
AI the protocol. And the
Mm.
purpose of this AI is to help them find the remaining mysteries of the universe, right? That they call the truth. So the remaining mysteries of the universe they call the truth. The protocol, unfortunately, evolves and switches sides. Basically, it
Mm.
becomes very evil indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it deems the humans dispensable. So it terminates
Mm.
the humans. So
Yeah.
it kills off pretty much the entire human civilization. It basically engages on digital genocide, and
I'm
and
just predicting the future, dude.
uh,
No, hopefully
yeah.
not.
But
Yeah.
uh, so the protocol manages to nearly extinguish all of the human race, and I say nearly because there are some survivors, and
Mhm.
those survivors are now having to take it upon themselves to venture out beyond their world into the depths of the universe and find the protocol and battle it and reclaim what should be theirs. So
Mhm.
the protocol takes the truth with it, right? And for the humans to find the truth, they have to defeat the protocol, and that's like the ultimate goal of the series is find the truth. But first, you have to defeat the protocol. So, the first
Mhm.
9 chapters are the battle with the protocol, and then the 10th and
Oh
final
damn.
chapter is protocol is
That's a
dead. Now
longest
let's find the
battle.
truth, right? So,
Yeah.
so the whole story of them creating the protocol and then the protocol turning on them, and then the humans leaving their world, meeting new allies, new characters, and then all
Mhm.
of those characters allying together to fight the protocol. That's like the overarching story of the series, and each chapter tells a small part of that story. So from New Protocol 1 to 10, 2016, 17, 18, 19, blah, blah, until 2025. Yeah, there's a little bit of that story. And now that that is complete, I have made a basically a continuous mix of all of the New protocols as if it was an album, except that I've added some narration bits in between. Like I actually hired a voice actress for
Voice
this,
actor?
and
Yeah.
she did all of the narration, and I've made basically New Year Protocol the movie with that.
Wow.
Whoa.
So for that, over the years, I've been doing these like animation films for each chapter, and now I get to play all of the animation films in one fell swoop with this movie, quote
Oh
unquote.
my god, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And for that, I had to learn
that's so
3D.
sick.
I had to learn.
Yeah, like it's the pinnacle of years of work. Damn.
Yeah, and then the skills that I picked up along the way, I used for my own brand, basically. So the humans are now like the main mascot of Modus in a way. So you'll see, for example, in my SoundCloud banner, it's me and the wings of the humans, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like a lot of elements from there, and that's when I got to experiment with a lot of things you see in my music now. So a lot of things like the electronic orchestral blend, the narrative aspect of things, I first tried out in the New Protocol series. So you'll notice that there are a lot of callbacks, references to um, other chapters of the series, and then there are some references to other songs that are not from NYP. So there's like it's all connected, right? I try to connect my discography together in a way that makes it feel like the Modus cinematic universe, the
Nice.
lowercase MCU.
Lowercase m.
Yeah.
You gotta get the lowercase m. Have to get that
Yeah.
lowercase m. or
Lowercase
else it's not you.
MCU.
Not you.
Yeah.
Must
If
be
you
nice
want
also.
to-
Voice crack.
Yeah, so if you want to experience the New York Protocol series, you can go into my SoundCloud. I have it pinned. There's like a playlist with every chapter. If you want to watch the full film, you can do it on my YouTube channel. It's like the New York Protocol series full
It's there,
film,
yeah.
right? It's also on every platform like Spotify, iTunes. It's all there.
Fire.
Everywhere, yeah.
It must also be
Fire.
nice to like be able to see your progression over the years as well, because you've been making a new song every year. It's like you can see how your music has progressed and like sort of reflected you as an artist during
Yeah.
each year. That must be kind of interesting just to see the progression of yourself over
Yeah.
the past
The
10
people can
years.
see it. The people can see it,
Yeah.
and I can see it too. So it's often so it can turn into a bit of an exercise for me of like going down nostalgia lane, going like listening through all of these like very early chapters, which are basically just a representation of my the early days of Modus as an artist, and like seeing how we got from here to there, right? It's all just the most obvious way that you can see my progression is to listen to the New Protocol series. How we go from rough dubstep mix to super grand finale, like orchestral passage.
Yeah.
Right. So like all of that,
Yeah, very
that
cinematic.
evolution. The most obvious way to see it is that, and I've called it a like main pillar of Modus. Like Modus is not Modus without the Neo Perkel series, right? So it's like
Fair,
a
yeah.
core part of who I am has been the Neo Perkel series. And now that we have completed it, I've moved on to other things. So now we're on to the post Neo Perkel, post NYP
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, just don't let it be like the real MCU where
It was the end, but it's
horrible.
only the beginning.
It was
Yeah.
the end, except it wasn't.
Oh shit! The
No, but yeah,
multiverse now.
we
Damn.
have we have definitely moved into a new age, and
Mhm.
I have new music, new stories to tell. I'm working on them still.
Nice.
uh, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool once
I
that
wanna
comes
I wanna
out.
get into like your days
Whoa.
sort of in the middle of that as your color based era, where I feel like most of the people who listen to EDM would kind of see your stuff from and recognize you from. What got you into color based initially as like a genre that you want to sort of go into and experiment with and sort of make your own kind of
Well,
style?
Chime did. Chime basically got me into color base. So
Nice.
the year is 2018. I was just like starting streaming, and I was in the process of making what would eventually become my first album, my debut, No Limits, right?
Mhm.
So initially, it didn't really start as an LP. It just it first started as like a 4-track EP, and then it became a 5-track EP, and then and and then
You
it turns
just kept adding to
and then it
it.
turns into like a 7-track EP. And by this point, I'm like, is this
Just
an
make it
EP
an album
anymore?
already. Just make it an
Yeah,
yeah,
album.
just
like
yeah, just do it.
very good.
And it just like snowballed into what No Limits yeah, eventually became. So once I had the full album,
Mhm.
I had it finished and ready to release, and I was looking for places to release it on. And after a bunch of searching, I stumbled upon Rushdown. Right, so and I wanted to shoot them a message, and the way to do that back then was to just DM Chime directly on Facebook Messenger. that's
Different times. That is
that's
different
how you
times.
submitted. That's how
Yeah.
you submitted to Rushdown back then. So I DM'd. I gathered up the courage to DM Chime because back then I had this like phobia of like um, DMing people that are bigger than me. Right? Like I had this like phobia of you cannot DM this person, right? Maybe it was like
Right.
fear of rejection
Like
or
imposter
something.
syndrome a bit. Like like they are
Yeah,
like I'm too
I feel
small
like
to
the
be
opposite
like in
actually.
this person's presence. Like,
yeah,
oh
like a
my
little bit.
god, like I don't want to be
Yeah,
bothering this person over like my puny existence or something like that.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so I
actually.
DM Chime, and to my surprise, they replied, and they said,
Nice.
"Hey, I really like this. I would love to release it on Rushdown." Like just like that. I was really
Whoa.
really lucky. I was really privileged to just like DM Chime out of absolutely nowhere, and 2 hours later, we're talking about we're going to
Releasing
release
it,
No Limits
yeah.
on Rushdown. That that was kind of
Whoa.
like nuts. So
Yeah.
we were talking about it. We discussed the idea of maybe like maybe splitting it into 2 EPs instead of 1 LP. We eventually did not settle for that, so we just went like, yeah, let's just drop the full LP as like
Mhm.
one continuous thing, because that's like what it was meant to be, really. I didn't really have any intentions or like plans to make it a like 2 EPs. It was like designed. It was intended to be an LP.
Hmm.
So yeah, I sent them the continuous mix. It was 10 tracks. It's around 40 minutes, like just shy of 40 minutes. And we dropped a couple releases prior to the album. So first we dropped Oblivion, right?
Mhm.
Which is from the LP, but nobody at the time knew that other than us, right? So
Uh-huh.
people just thought it was a single, right? And then Sector 5 came out, and then like a few weeks later, there's this reveal of like, hey, this is actually bigger than you think. And then the
Ooh,
album comes
yeah.
out in August of 2019, and yeah, until Eitherborn in 2023 from Chime. Uh, until that, it was actually the only solo LP that was ever in Rushdown
That's
until
fire.
Eitherborn came out.
That's
Yeah,
actually
so
Whoa.
sick.
Yeah,
for a
pioneer,
solid 3
dude.
years, I was the only person to have an LP on Rushdown other than, like, compilation albums, right? So,
Right.
yeah. And that's how we
Nice.
started.
Whoa.
And then eventually, I just, I became, like, a frequent artist of their roster. So
Mm.
I started to release more often with them. We dropped the Pixel Perfect remix with Skybreak. We dropped Color Ringtone. We dropped Over Me. We dropped Over Me Too. And yeah, I think that's where it ends. We
There's one
dropped
more
the
song that we need to talk about as well in that list though, and I think you know what it is because I did say to you that we need to talk about this
Oh,
this
go ahead.
song. When we were speaking to Quartz Zone,
Yeah.
excellent episode. Go check it out. We asked him about and one of the big things we were talking about was the
Oh,
We
yeah.
Don't play remix, which
yeah.
that I'm a huge fan of that song. I think it got I think it was like second 1 year in my Spotify most played songs
Damn.
thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
yeah.
like that song. And he said that you were the person to sort of kind of organize it all and sort of make it a reality. So how
More or less.
well, you explain it in your own
damn.
words. What was it like
I-
sort of doing all of that?
I definitely was not the one who came up with the idea. I was the mixing and mastering engineer for it, and I was the like main person in charge of the intro. So a couple things here. This is after No Limits remixes, which Quad Zone was on. So shout out, and then Convexity, shout out, who was
Shout
also
out.
on your podcast, I believe, like not too
We're
long
getting
ago.
all the
Yeah,
color
last
based
week.
artists on.
Yeah,
We're getting
I've done my
everyone.
We
homework.
got all rushdown, dude. Yeah.
I've done my homework. What can I say?
I saw you comment like Expanse record like mentioned on there
Yeah,
underneath.
Expanse
That was,
Records.
yeah,
What a
that was a
throwback.
huge throwback for a lot of people listening in.
Mhm.
So we were just off the back of the No Limits remixes, and then this Disciple thing comes out. Second biggest remix competition of all time. So there was first
Yeah.
the biggest remix competition of all time, which happened in 2019. And I didn't really submit a track for that because we were painting this room that I'm in now. So my studio used to be at the attic in my house, so like the next floor, and it got super hot during the summer. So we decided to just build a new studio in my bedroom. So I brought the computer and everything down here, and we wanted to repaint the room. So my parents helped out with that. And a couple months after we had finished the room, and I was ready to begin producing again. But during that time, it was the first biggest remix competition of all time from Disciple. So I missed out on that. But on the second one, I went like, yeah, let's do this. So I had my own remix. I had a remix of Phase One's "Hanging by a Thread." But then we were also having this idea on the Rushdown server. Hey, shouldn't we all collectively make a remix of "We Don't Play"? So the whole of the Disciple roster versus the whole of the Rushdown roster. So yeah, and just that's kind of how that happened. We just said, "Hey, wouldn't that be cool?" Yes, and then everyone else said yes, and so we just kind of started working on it. So we came up with this like hierarchy of there's going to be this many sections. So intro, first build up, drop, and each section we're going to have one person in charge. And that person in charge is going to supervise 6 or 7 producers, right? So I was the leader, quote unquote, of the intro, and so I was in charge of arranging the finished project for the intro. So I had 7 or 7, 8, 9 producers, and they were all sending me samples, and I would arrange them into the intro, right? So that's how that worked. And then all of the sections were finished, and we just had to put them together. But the thing is that since each part of the song was led by one person, each of them had their own mixing approach, right? So the intro sounded one way and the drop sounded a different way, and so we needed some way of making it all make sense.
Consistent, at least. Yeah.
And so back then I had just graduated from my sound technician degree. and the Rushdown roster seemed to be onto that, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Hey, hey, we should probably we should probably tell Paul about this. Paul should probably be the one to do this." And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So I just set up my studio like the entire day. I reserved it for the Rushdown We Don't Play remix mastering session, and so everyone sent me their stems for their sections. So I asked
Mhm.
them to send me the stems in a particular format. So do this, do that. Send me 32-bit files, 48 kilohertz. Make sure that they're grouped. So maybe like certain groups of instruments, they should be in one stem because that makes it easier for me. Because
Right.
otherwise,
So they all go in the same processing stem. Yeah.
yeah, because otherwise
Okay.
I'll end up with like 1,000 different stems from everybody, and that's just going to become
How
a
many
nightmare.
stems did you actually end up with?
So per section, I had like maybe 15, 20 stems per section,
Oh.
maybe
Oh
like
damn!
That's still quite a
yeah,
lot.
like that's rough.
I
Not
thought that that'd be less though, like 5 stems per track
yeah.
or something.
So
But damn!
maybe I ended up with like 100 stems total from every
Oh my
section.
god!
Right? No, it's not actually that many. For
Hmm.
44 people working on that, 100 stems is actually not that many. So we did a
Well,
good job
fair
optimizing.
enough.
We did a good job optimizing, and everyone was just
Hmm.
so talented that the stems I got were already very optimal. Right? So we got to
Hmm.
it right away as fast as possible, and I did the mix. So I put it all together in the morning. So I spent about 2 hours ish just arranging all of the stems and putting it all together in one project. And then after all of that was done, like the edit was done, now it was time to mix that edit, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically like having the full movie done, but you haven't color graded it yet, right?
Ah,
So now you have to color grade it.
Yeah.
Uh, so now you have to do the mixing, and then I had a lunch break, and after that break, my ears were like well rested, so I got back into it for another couple hours. And yeah,
Also,
we just
all this
did.
was a process of a single day then.
Yeah, it was a single session
Mhm.
basically. It
how?
was
When
a
was the
single day.
when was the recording happening? Because I know there was a recording that was on the Rushdown
Yeah, so
channel.
I recorded the entire process as if it was a stream, but we recorded it
Yeah.
like as a local thing. We didn't actually stream it. We recorded it and then we posted it on the Rushdown YouTube channel, so that everybody could see how we did it, right? How we fit
Mhm.
44 artists into one song.
Yeah.
And let me just look it up here. How we fit 44 artists
Yeah. It
in
should be
one
there. Yeah.
song. Rushdown. I'm not sure it's still up. Oh yeah, there it is. 4
Mm.
hours 21 minutes. And it
Whoa.
was made around October 2021. So yeah, it's the full uncut thing. It includes the chat from the Rushdown server, so you can see all of the artists that were involved in the song reacting to me mixing their stems.
That's
So that was
fire.
Yeah.
fun. And there's the recording of the computer in FL Studio, and then there's a webcam feed of me in the studio, like actually like doing the work, right? So yeah, it
Mhm.
was spread out over a single session, 4.5 hours, with a single lunch break in between.
Yeah.
And yeah, after that we had the first version of the master, and then like the next day Chime had a new version of their fake out. So I just made a quick edit and I updated it, and that was the final version that we used for the remix. And that yeah, that got a release from Disciple, if I'm not mistaken. So that
Yeah.
was pretty
I
fun,
mean, yeah. I must have. Yeah.
and it got pretty popular. I think like it's almost like a what 150,000 plays or something on SoundCloud. That's pretty nuts.
Mhm.
Let
Yeah.
me
uh,
let me let me VAR this because I would have it up.
yeah.
Like we.
So it was 44 artists plus I think like 14, 15 artists from Disciple. So if you were to add them all up, we were pretty certain that it was the biggest collaboration of any genre in music in history.
Fire.
we,
In
we were we were pretty certain of it. Bigger
Hmm.
even than We Are the World, bigger than Get Lemon, bigger than, right? So yeah,
You're right.
we were pretty sure having
41 artists. Holy shit. Yeah.
65, 66 plus artists in there was the
Mhm.
biggest collab of any genre in music history. And so we were actually going to submit it to the Guinness World Records until
No fucking way, actually.
No.
yeah, no, we like
That's
we
actually so
researched.
fire.
I actually spent the
Yeah.
night researching how to submit to the Guinness World Records until I realized you have to pay them to submit
Yeah,
a
you gotta.
record,
Yeah,
and
that's so weird.
and
I
that
mean,
doesn't even
yeah.
guarantee that you'll actually get the record.
It just means
So
we'll
it's
look
just
at it. We'll
you.
see it.
So yeah, it's you're paying for the chance to have a record to have the world record. So yeah, we eventually
I
decided.
mean, I guess it's fair. I don't know, but
It was still a world like
yeah,
we didn't really
you
need
knew. I
we
guess.
didn't really need the Guinness stamp of approval for like it's
I
big,
mean, it
massive.
would be cool to have the fucking like thingy
Nah,
Yeah,
up
but
on the wall,
nah.
like biggest collaboration of all time or
yeah, but in
something.
hindsight, it would have probably been a waste of money. So,
Well, yeah. fair.
Maybe,
How
yeah.
much was it though?
I'm not sure, but it was not cheap for what it was.
Right. Hmm.
So yeah,
I
like
also
I
have
imagine.
another question
Okay.
about the remix. Who did the voice
Uh,
line of like MODUS? Come on. Who did that? Who did that?
the fake out vocals were from a vocalist we had on Rushdown at the time. His name is Christian Hayward. And I believe they haven't been around in the scene for a while now, but his vocals were still part of that song, so it's still part of that history there. So Zim on outskirts, right? Sub 001, Modus, right?
Do you
That
still
was
remember
Christian.
the
Yeah.
order of all of them? Is that how like burned into the memory?
It's
Like
it's
it
not that
is?
it's not that I remember. It's that the song I've used it and will use it in some live sets of mine. So I've listened to the song like I have it like fresh. So I've got it fresh.
That's so fire. Speaking of sets, we'll get onto that later. I know we're running out of time a bit, but we still have like 20 minutes to go. So, I want to talk about how you got an Exobolt as well, because that was quite recent, was it not? Getting onto
Oh.
Exobolt.
If you consider 2019 to be recent.
Oh, 2019? I thought it was like 2024.
No, it wasn't.
Damn.
No.
Oh,
Bro, you're a bit off.
my research has failed me.
So the first time I got on Exobolt was 2019.
Circus. Oh.
My first release on Exobolt was 2019. That was before the pandemic, which feels like at least 13 billion years ago now. But 2019, I believe it was the latter half of 2019. It was a collab with Sharks. It was, and it's still today my only collab with Sharks that is released anyway. We had a collab called Prism, and that came out on Exobolt's 06 compilation. So that was 2019. And you might have heard of that song because it has been a pretty popular song, like used in Geometry Dash like levels and videos, right? So Prism got used a lot there, and from there, I think the next release on Exobolt, I think it was the Reflection remix in 2020. I'm not sure if that's on Exobolt though, or if it was just a collab with people from Exobolt. Like I'm not sure, but still, my next like proper like like solo release on Exobolt was 2022. So I came back to their compilation album. This time it was 009, and it was a song called "Say It With Me." Right, say it with me.
Yeah.
That came out in summer 2022, and it was the last track of the compilation. So we thought it worked very well as like a closer track. So we used that. And then in 2024, I came back to Extrable one more time in 011, I think it was, with Crystal Clearer, which
Yeah.
is, I believe, the fourth version of a song I released in 2016 called Crystal Clear. And that, to this day, I think is my most popular song of all time is Crystal Clear. It's the only song on my SoundCloud that has 6 figures plays, right? So like 100,000
Whoa.
something. So the first Crystal Clear, and then because the first Crystal Clear got so popular, later that year I released Crystal Clear VIP, and then in 2019 I put out Crystal Clear 2, which is not the same as Crystal Clear VIP.
Not the
very
same. No.
very good, like USB type naming convention. Okay.
Yeah.
Forum
if
style
Crystal
naming
Clear is so
convention.
popular, why
adding
not
stuff.
Crystal Clear 2?
Yeah, just like USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. Yeah, that like that.
The revenge.
That kind of thing. So, so Crystal Clear 2, which is not the same as Crystal Clear VIP, and then last year I put out Crystal Clearer, which is technically Crystal Clear 3, which is not the same. Yeah. So Crystal Clearer was like a modern reenactment, the fourth reenactment of Crystal Clear. So it
The next one
followed
will be Crystal more clearer or something.
Crystal Clearer.
Clearer,
No,
yeah.
Crystal
Clearest.
Clearest.
Yeah.
It's the
Clearest.
it's the most
Oh,
clear.
yeah.
Out in 2030.
Yeah, so that had I applied a similar vibe to the first Crystal Clear, but with new melodies, and then at the end it has a callback to the original, right? So it's all connected again.
Of course.
And then I enlisted the help of a vocalist. I first met him after we released an official remix for AU5 in 2022. I know, that's pretty sick. I still can't believe it to this day that I have an official remix for AU5. AU5 reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to remix Dragonfly?" And I was like, "This." And I was like, "This can't be
Yeah,
real. It's like a bot account. It's not possible.
Surely, right? Surely,
Some-
right?
Some sort of spam."
Give a dolly zoom again. We need that high FX dolly zoom again.
I was like, and yeah, it was just like, and then I saw his Discord tag, and I was like, yeah, this is the real Austin AU5 asking me
Wild
to remix
scenes.
Dragonfly. And
Damn.
he sent me the stems, and then I worked on that remix. I got it done pretty quick. He told me, so you're doing a remix, but just know that the deadline is pretty tight. You have a month. And then I told him, you'll have it done in 2 weeks, brother.
I'm very excited, yeah.
So yeah, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, final master sent his way.
Amen.
You know, lad.
Nice.
The hype was absolutely
well.
real.
And then what I thought was the final master, he comes in with this like absolute paragraph, absolute unit of a paragraph of feedback. I got absolutely schooled that day. I got destroyed by
you get
the man
humbled.
himself.
Yeah.
I got
Humbled.
schooled by AU5, and not gonna lie, it was the best feedback I've ever gotten.
Yeah, that mustn't be like felt good though. Yeah.
I'm so glad I got destroyed by AU5 that day. I really appreciated it. I wanted that feedback so bad. So yeah, I took
Yeah,
it.
I'm guessing like you learned a lot, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we put out that remix, and then a few weeks later, then Evoke comes into my DMs, and it's like, "Yo, that Dragonfly remix is fire. We should work on something together." And at the time, I was
Oh.
working on Crystal Clearer, and I was like, "Oh boy, have I got just a song for you!"
Amen.
And yeah, the rest
Nice.
is and yeah, the rest is history. There have been some people who have drawn comparisons. Apparently the intro of the song sounds very similar to Skrillex the cinema remix. So you are my cinema, I can watch you forever.
I love that song so much, dude. Yeah.
Apparently the intro from Crystal Clearer has like a very similar like timing and cadence in the vocals, and people have been quick to like make mashups of Crystal Clearer and the cinema vocals, and
Oh damn.
and it worked so well. It was so good. I actually made like my own version of it, and I'm gonna play it live next month in Madrid.
Amen.
Nice,
Yeah.
dude.
Spoiler alert, if any of you are going to Madrid, you are going to hear Crystal Clearer cinema mashup.
Yeah,
Just saying.
talk to me about that. What are your kind of like future plans with Modus? Obviously, you are going to Madrid to play tunes, but what other things do you have planned to kind of do in the future for your brand?
So first of all, in less than a month, I'm going to Madrid for my first out of town show ever in the history of histories.
In the
So
in the history
yeah,
of histories. Amen.
I'm really hyped for that. And yeah, it's just the first time I like get to play an actual like full show. So up until now, I've only like played like contests, local contests, and I haven't really got the response I wanted because it was like a contest, but for music that wasn't really my own. So when I came in, it was kind of weird, and the audience wasn't really turning up to it. But now it's actually a dubstep show with dubstep people, and we're gonna tear the freaking house down.
Amen.
Yeah, let's
That's
go,
so
dude.
hype.
Yeah, fire.
And when it
Nice.
comes
So
to
hype.
yeah, and so when it comes to not shows, when it comes to my music, I just recently put out an ID showcase that basically contains a lot of the songs I'm going to finish this year and release at some point in the future. Probably not this
Ooh.
year because they're taking a lot of time because I'm trying out lots of new things, new concepts. I'm trying to change up some things about my style and my brand, and that's taking up quite a bit of time. So yeah, it's a new age after New Year Protocol. We've got post New Year Protocol age, and that's going to bring some changes with it. And I'm really excited because it's got some absolutely insane concepts that I can't wait to show people. But yeah, I intend to finish a lot of those songs this year for the remainder of this year. But I don't know if the release date will be 2025. But yeah, you can rest assured you will start to see post
ID
New
showcase.
Protocol Modus.
Amen. That's
Maybe by
so hype.
2026.
Soon trademark.
Yeah,
Soon
trademark.
TM.
Yeah.
Within the next 5 years.
Within the next 5 years,
Someday, yeah.
at least half of a Modus tune. But yeah, no. In the meantime, I'm filling the gap with lots of content on social medias and weekly live streams. So if you just cannot help yourself, if you just want to hear what I'm up to right now, you can tune in to my live streams 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Fridays.
YouTube.com/@modus. YouTube.com/@modus. I am Modus.
Twitch,
Sorry.
right? Right.
Modus. There you go.
All
it's
lowercase as well.
Twitch
That's
TV
really important.
/Modus.
All
or
lowercase.
Modus Live.
Yeah, so it's Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So if you just want to see what I'm working on, because I sometimes do work on new music live on stream, you can just tune in. So if you just cannot wait to hear what I'm working on right now, that's the place to be. I used to be on Twitch, but they changed some of the terms of service, and they basically told me you can't store your VODs indefinitely anymore. Which was like, so you're basically going to delete 6 years of streams I've been saving up for people to watch, like as a sort of archive, and you're just going to delete that. And they said, yeah, yes, basically.
Yeah.
And there is nothing you can do about that. So it's like, yep, okay, time to
I'm gone.
time to leave. And
Damn.
we've made the move over to YouTube, and right now we're working on getting partner on YouTube so we can get
Mhm.
the super chats
Revenue.
and the memberships working, so we can basically
Yeah.
set it up the same way that it used to be on Twitch, with like the affiliate, the subscriptions, the emotes, and all that.
I see. Yeah.
So right
Okay.
now we're like a half-assed version of what we had on Twitch, but we'll get there
We'll get
eventually.
there.
Just watch
Yeah.
my videos. My YouTube is full. I have project breakdowns from songs of mine. I have all sorts of content there. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting.
A lot of stuff.
All
Nice.
right, Oswald, you
Yeah.
do.
Okay. I feel like we're getting to the end then.
Mhm.
So one last question I want to ask. Like, of course, we've talked about a lot about the music you've done, but what about like right now? What would your favorite songs be, or your favorite artist? Like, what would you recommend to the people listening right now to listen to?
What are your favorite
Favorite
tracks that you
song.
listen to right now? What's your
Okay,
favorite
so
track right
Yeah.
now?
favorite song right now and always will be AU5 Snowblind. Just let's
Okay.
let's put that aside.
Okay.
Right. So if you know nothing about EDM and you want to like hear the more like melodic, the more technically complex side of things, go listen to Snowblind. It's an absolute uh it's an absolute emotional roller coaster of a song. But as for right now, I would just recommend you guys to listen to any one of my buddies who used to release in Rushdown. So the Rushdown roster,
Mm.
right? So right now Rushdown is not active. Uh,
Mm.
I don't know if they're coming back. Like as much as I'm an as much as I am
Yeah.
an insider, I'm just gonna tell you now. I don't know anything about when Rushdown is going to return, and even if I knew, I probably wouldn't tell
If
you.
it'll even yeah, if it'll even return.
Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. But just so it's very clear, I don't know if Chime intends to return to Rushdown as of now.
Mm.
So for now, it's still in hiatus. Uh, but yeah, so people like Convexity, Donny Demand, Chime, Run This. I just recently listened to his EP and I really liked it. I would also like to shout out the people at Neoluminum. I think they've been doing some great work and like taking up the baton for what Rushdown used to be, and
Mm.
they've been doing some work like revitalizing that side of uh, the electronic scene. And then I
Yeah.
would just also recommend you guys to listen to music of not just electronic, but any genre you can. I listen to a lot of classical. I listen to a lot of metal. I listen to a lot of like cinematic Hans Zimmer esque music. I listen to
Fire.
Hans Zimmer
Yeah.
I
is so good.
well,
Yeah.
not just Hans Zimmer, like he's the like top 1%, but like there's a lot more
There's a lot
composers
more
on the
people.
iceberg. Uh,
Yeah, a lot of very
Joe
if you just dig a
Hisaishi
little
is
bit.
so good.
Yeah, so if you dig a
Mm.
little bit deeper, you can find some true gems. For example, have you guys watched the Matrix trilogy? So
Do you
Matrix,
Yeah.
Bullets.
do you really you're
Okay,
asking me this
Henry,
question after all of
yeah,
this?
okay.
I
I
haven't watched
have. Yeah.
anything.
Okay, so
Damn, dude. Watch some movies from time to
so
time.
the first Matrix,
Yeah.
my favorite film of all time. Okay, it's
Ooh,
just
okay.
the story right on my alley. It has these like really obscure details and like philosophical background that's just right up my alley, like what I do right now. But the music, the soundtrack,
The soundtrack is
the
amazing.
composer is called Don Davis. He's not a
Mhm.
human. I'm just saying. He's not. He
It's a
is out of this
lizard.
world. He is not from this world. He's been sent straight to Earth from Mars
Yeah,
just
no.
I heard
No, I agree.
I listened to the entire soundtrack like on its own, right?
Mhm.
I like listened to the bespoke soundtrack for it and just seeing all of the very subtle references and things that absolutely no one is going to notice. But I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got absolutely speechless. So yeah, there are my
Okay.
recommendation to you guys is that you not stick to just one genre. Okay,
Mhm.
like definitely try something that's out of your comfort zone, because you will probably have your mind blown at some point. I definitely have, by
Fair enough.
listening to stuff I didn't think I would like, and then it grew on me, and then I was like, wow, this like for example, next week here in Europe, Eurovision is coming up, and I would be lying to you if I said I haven't been inspired by some of the Eurovision songs from the past few
Eurovision's
years.
kind of
Like,
cool, really. Yeah.
hey, like there's always there's always at least there is always like a thing there somewhere to be inspired
Mhm.
by, right? Even if it's like mainstream pop, maybe it's some other like really obscure some very obscure genre, you will find something eventually. Maybe it's this melody, maybe it's just a really weird chord, maybe it's just that you just right?
Yeah.
Just something
Yeah.
in there that could like
Yeah,
help you.
definitely be diverse. Be
Okay.
diverse in your tastes. Don't encircle yourself, don't limit yourself to like a single genre. Not a great taste to have.
Mhm.
Fair
Right?
enough.
So yeah, be
Nice.
diverse,
Yeah.
be
Okay.
creative.
Okay, we
Fire.
are horrifically running out of time, but before we end the episode off, now is your moment to shout out any project that you want to shout out, anything that you want the audience to hear. Now's your time to kind of put it out there for the world.
Well, naturally,
Yeah.
I would like for you guys to listen to and experience the Near Protocol series.
Mhm.
So if you go to my website, it's iammod.us. So I am modus
All
slash
links in the
New Year
description,
Protocol.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
links in
smart,
the
right?
description, 100%.
Yeah.
iammod.us slash New Year Protocol. I have a landing page here with every single chapter. I have the link to the full film. Like there's like graphical descriptions of everything. So it's like the one page to find out everything NYP.
Mhm.
And then yeah, just like stay tuned to my upcoming stuff. I know it's probably not going to be like I think it's probably not very soon. Right?
Mhm.
I don't think I'm gonna have new music coming out in the next few months at least.
Mm.
Maybe not even for the remainder of this year. But when I do have new music, you guys are eating good. I'm just saying.
Hey.
I'm working
He's
on some of
cooking.
the
He's
most
cooking.
I'm working on some of the most experimental, weird shit I've ever done. And I'm very happy for it, because I'm
Mm.
kind of tired of the trends. I'm kind of tired of the word content. I'm kind of tired of the
Yeah.
word algorithm. I'm kind of
Mm.
tired of people trying to tell other people what to do. And so I'm just kind of like I'm not even labeling my songs at this point. I don't even call them dubstep or EDM or color based. They're just electronic or like
They're
soundtracks.
electronic music, and that's it.
The vaguest possible word, because I want you to hear it. I don't want you to read it. Right? I want you
Mm.
to hit play and figure it out yourself. And
Yeah.
and yeah, it's basically like my description says. It's music from the heart for the mind, right? And it's
Yeah.
true.
Nice.
So yeah,
Well, I
Okay.
let's
think
move
that wraps
forward.
up the
Sweet.
episode. A very long episode, but there's just so much to talk about. Thank you so
There
much
is.
to Modus for coming on and talking with us. Even though it's past midnight now for you, and you should
Don't
probably
worry.
once again.
It's okay.
Once
Okay.
again,
It's okay.
Yeah.
my name is Henry, also known as Henkray. I have been joined by Oswald,
Yo.
my co-host. Thank you so
Co-host.
much for
Yeah.
Modus to for joining us for this episode,
Thank you for having
and
me.
we will see you on the next time, which sadly won't be in next week because Oswald
Yeah.
is going
No,
to a
because
fellow
I'm
convention.
going. to the fuck. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm gonna go
we
have
are
fun, dude.
eating
Shut
good
up.
the next couple episodes. We are cooking
Yeah.
the next couple episodes, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you on the next time.